I just watched It, Welcome to Derry, episode 1, and now I have to ask myself, what did I just watch? Welcome back, everybody. This was one of the most brutal things I have seen on TV in a while, and I was not expecting us to go where we went by the end of this episode. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it, but I think I'm going to try to keep this episode 1 review at least spoiler free for now, because I don't think I have to go into details. And if you've watched the show, I'll talk about the time in the episode that I'm talking about, like the beginning, the middle, the end, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about, because what I saw in this will stay with me for the rest of my life. I think some of these things. Haunting, just straight up haunting. So before I get more into this, I want to know, how do you feel about horror TV series? Are you here for them? Are you not here for them? Are there any American Horror Story fans in the audience? Put your hand up. Let me know. I want to hear your thoughts on this whole concept in the comments below. I just want to talk a little bit about what this show is about, because I feel like not everybody knows the premise for It, Welcome to Derry. It is basically going to be, if we get more than one season, an anthology show where we are going to be going back in time, with each season being focused on a different cycle of when Pennywise manifests and goes on his super fun killing spree. And that happens every 27 years. So this show is set in 1962 for season 1. And then the idea would be that, season 2 would be 27 years before that. And we're going back. We're going back in time, back to the beginning. And so far, I am loving this as a concept, and I cannot wait to see where it goes. And there are reasons for that. And there are some important elements to this show that I just feel like we already have completely nailed in the first episode. I'll tell you what, it's got its hooks into me, and I think that's really important for a weekly release show. I mean, it's interesting now, in 2025, there are a lot of shows, they kind of go one or two ways. Either everything gets dropped all at once, you get a full season, like The Witcher's going to be coming out on Thursday, and we're going to get that whole season, or we have a weekly release. Now, I personally do love a weekly release, but only when the show is compelling enough to warrant having that. And fortunately with this show, I think ding, 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 we got a winner. I think the amazing thing about this show is that all of the elements of horror are beautifully incorporated here and just done at such a level. This is really how you convey horror, how you create this sense of maintaining attention, keeping someone on the edge of their seat, and suspending that at different levels throughout an entire episode. And that is necessary. You need to show that in your pilot episode, because for a show, it's a lot to maintain horror for that long. With a movie, you only have maybe 90 minutes, sometimes maybe 2 hours. That's a long horror movie, though. With a show, you've got multiple hours of content. And so what I loved about this, I actually watched it right after watching Interview with a Vampire, which I did a little watch party over on my Discord for, and I was so amazed at the level of quality of that show. And then to jump into this after, I did a watch along over on the other place that shall not be named, and I was just like, I'm just going from quality to quality here. This is spectacular. I'm so happy. The lighting in both of these shows is phenomenal. And lighting is so important. I don't think we talk about lighting enough. So I just want to say thank you to everyone that knows how to light anything in film. It can be so embarrassing when people don't know how to light stuff, and it just ruins the entire mood and the entire tone. And I think with this production, it also is bringing every element that it can use at its disposal to make the horror feel alive, to make everything feel dangerous. The way that this show opens is disgusting, and I loved every second of it. I'm gonna be real. The special effects overall in the show, I think, are all just really well done. And the only element that I didn't love is there is a moment near the end of the episode when they're in the theater. And for those of you that have seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. There is a part with someone's face where the face changes, and I was just like, that's the only thing I'm not sure if I liked how that was done. It just looks so weird. And like, maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe they were going for it to be off-putting, but it just felt off-putting in a way that felt like bad CG to me, personally. However, there are lots of little intricacies in here that are references to Pennywise that if you're paying attention to the imagery, I think are so eerie and well done. So there's a lot of layers to the effects in this show, and that's something that I can appreciate. The acting I felt was quite good. I don't think that is the only opinion on the internet. Apparently, some of the issues that people have with this show are in regards to the acting, but I thought it was pretty good. I didn't see anything wrong with it. And I think that a lot of it is based around creating that sense of terror, and that is definitely present in terms of the performances that we see. There is also, of course, an unsettling nature with some of these characters who are twisted, clearly. And that also I felt was conveyed. Now, the only element that I'm not as attached to yet is we obviously have this family that, is going to be coming to Derry, that's going to be living there, that we kind of get introduced to basically the dad who works for the military at the beginning. And I'm not as invested in that yet, but it doesn't matter because I'm invested in the mystery of everything else that is going on with the kids. And I think it's hard too because we have a completely new cast obviously here, and we already know the previous story of it. We already kind of know where this is all going. So you have to bring in a cast and bring in a story that's going to make people interested in watching along, even though we know that the end of this, it doesn't take us anywhere good. We know how the story ends, so they have to make you interested in the journey of how we get there. And I think the writing in the show, combined with the acting, has enough stamina to keep that going. I like the way that everyone talks, actually. I feel like they talk like real kids from the 60s, and that is something that I enjoyed. And I love that it's a period piece. I think that's so fun, getting to see all the outfits and all the scenery and the sets. That's been really cool. It'll be interesting to watch Derry evolve if we do get more seasons of this. So overall, I really liked it. I thought it was messed up and surprisingly awful, and just, yeah, by the end of episode 1, I was not expecting it to end the way it did. And I cannot wait to see where it goes next, because I was not predicting where we were headed, which is fun because this is a story where you know where it's going. So when it throws you a curveball like that, it makes you intrigued. I don't know how much of it is based, of course, on the book because I haven't read it. And obviously this is set in the past. It's like a prequel. And I don't think in the book we go much into that. But obviously there are bits of the history that I know from the movie that they pick up along the way. Overall, I think this is actually the most disturbing version of this story that I've seen adapted on screen. Like, this is within the It universe, at least in terms of the movies. I think this is setting itself up to be the most disturbing version that we've had so far. So I cannot wait to see where it goes. Overall, I think I'd give this first episode a 4 out of 5. It got its hooks into me. I'm definitely going to be back next week, and I can't wait to see where it goes next. However, it is still an intro episode, so the only reason I'm giving it, I think, a 4 out of 5 is just because, I don't know, there could be something a little bit more compelling there. There are some elements that, aren't as, I guess, interesting, but I think the mystery that will unfold and kind of what we will get to learn, hopefully we get to learn more about Pennywise. I think that'll be interesting as we go back in time. That is something I am very intrigued in, and to see kind of how maybe the evolution of the attacks changes over time, because I already feel like there are some differences, and I think that's fascinating. So let me know what you think about this show down in the comments below. How would you rate it, and what do you think worked and what didn't work in this episode? Maybe just try to mark things spoiler, as I did keep this spoiler free. I didn't really say exactly what happens in the episode, but we alluded to it. And I also want to know how you feel about the elements of this show that seem to be from other works of Stephen King. Obviously, we know that some of Stephen King's books are set in the same universe, And from some of the things that people have noticed in the trailer, Welcome to Derry might be playing up on that fact. And it could be that we're going to see more things pulled in from those other stories, or perhaps we're going to spiral out into some of those other stories. And I want to know what you think about that, and if you would be here for kind of a Stephen King horror universe. I'll see you in the next one, and until then, friends, as always, stay nerdy. Bye! And if you like when I talk about horror, you should check this out.